Thank you. Hi, everyone. So let's move from aerospace to something more deeply rooted in the ground. Let's talk about cannabis and let's talk about weed. I'm Constantin von der Groeben. I'm the co-founder and managing director of DEMECAN. We are, I would say, Germany's, maybe Europe's leading cannabis company. DEMECAN, that's an acronym for Deutsches Medizinisches Cannabis. So basically, we carry in our name what we are doing. And when I say cannabis, we do the whole supply chain. We cultivate, we have our own grow, so basically farmers. We're also processors, we're doing the packaging, we're doing the processing, so we're also a manufacturer of a pharmaceutical. We import and we distribute to pharmacies. So, and actually we also like test our own product. So we cover the entire value chain, and that was key for us because our vision really is to make life better for patients, to what we call to cultivate quality of life. That's why we started, and that's our mission. Our mission is to become the German go-to place for medicinal cannabis. Everything we do is obviously legal, it's highly regulated, and it is in the pharmaceutical sector. Why am I here in a on a tech conference when our product is really tangible? I remember like 4 or 5 years ago in our first fundraise, I had a wonderful pitch with, I believe it was Project A Ventures. They were super excited to learn about cannabis, but at the end of the pitch, they asked me, so what's the tech angle really? And we were like, well, there's none. We grow weed and we sell weed. So that was a non-starter. Since then, the whole industry has developed and has evolved. And we have learned that it's not enough to have a great product, to grow a great product, and deliver it to pharmacies. We have to educate the ecosystem at the very front end. We have to educate doctors, pharmacists, and even patients. All of that was very difficult because cannabis usually is, all over the world, a narcotic drug. It's very difficult and very expensive to handle. And of course, you cannot advertise. Even to talk about it is quite challenging. All of this, though, as some of you might have heard, changed as of April this year. There was big fuss about Germany legalizing cannabis, and yes, that does affect us. But this legalization was primarily for your own home cultivating in social clubs. It was not so much on a commercial level. But what came along with this legalization was also a change in the medical cannabis sphere, a declassification of cannabis from a narcotic drug to an RX drug. So as of April 1st, it's now much easier and much cheaper to handle, to prescribe, and to just generally work with cannabis. And we've understood that. And there's a legislative change, there's a change in regulation, and when that happens, there is an opportunity. And we want to seize this opportunity by solving the problem that I've just kind of mentioned, and I want to outline it a little more. If any of you have ever worked in a pharmaceutical space, you will know it's really painful because the stakeholders you'll deal with, they're difficult. And there's a lack of data, there's a lack of knowledge, and there's a huge lack of insufficiency due to insufficient processes. What are the stakeholders that I'm talking about? Obviously, patients, doctors, pharmacies, and wholesalers. I'll leave aside now the health insurance companies because that's another animal. We'll tackle that maybe next NOAH conference. For now, let's focus on what we have here. What are the problems that we're encountering? And we started DEMECAN in 2017. We're selling cannabis to pharmacies in 2019-20. So we have gathered some experience here. The problem one is most people who consume cannabis for their own health benefit don't even know that there's a legal way to do it and that they could go to a pharmacy and get high quality, well-tested cannabis. There's a huge lack of knowledge. And even now when you talk to people, they're now in Germany much more open to speak about the consummation of cannabis because it's legal. Even then, 90% of them still go to their home dealers, go to parks, go to Telegram groups, and are not aware that there's a legal avenue right now to get cannabis, and that is via prescription, from the pharmacies. So we need to fill this knowledge gap here. But what happens then, once we've taught the patients that there is a way to get legal cannabis, they will need a doctor. Because while it's not a narcotic anymore, you still need a prescription. A prescription requires a doctor to prescribe it to you. So we've started to educate doctors, one doctor at a time, telling them that cannabis is a nice and useful herbal drug. But still, again, the doctors are scattered all over the place. Some are in Berlin, some are in the countryside. It's, again, a very difficult peer group to target and to inform and to help tell that there's actually a new remedy for chronic pains, for example. But even if these doctors prescribe cannabis, they then have to issue a prescription, give it back to the patient, and the patient walks to a pharmacy, and the pharmacist, in 90% of the cases, has never dealt with cannabis, is also unaware that he can prescribe it, and even if that he can fulfill it. But even if the pharmacy has dealt with cannabis before, right now, mind you, there's over 200 different cannabis medicines, cannabis flowers that they could fulfill. How do they know which ones to have on stock? Which ones will the doctor prescribe? Which one is really good? So there's no interconnection between the pharmacist handing out and fulfilling a prescription and where they purchase it from. Again, lots of insufficiency. What we see usually happening is the patient goes to the doctor, gets a cannabis prescription, goes to the pharmacy doesn't have that cannabis available. Best case is the pharmacist can call the wholesaler and order that cannabis. Usually that's not even possible because the cannabis is out of stock. So they have to renew the prescription, send it back to the doctor, hand out another prescription. Again, a lot of insufficiency, time is lost, cost is lost. Patients are annoyed about this process and they tend to go back to the home dealer. Opportunity lost for us to sell product and for the patient to consume healthy cannabis. So again, insufficiency, lack of knowledge, and lack of data here that harms the entire business for us, that harms the entire industry. And us as a wholesaler and other wholesalers around, again, we want to sell the product, we want to fulfill it to the pharmacies. A very late stage in the supply chain, we realize what the pharmacy really needs already at the moment when the prescription has been made. That's kind of late in the process. Ideally, we can tell, we know before, so we can tell the pharmacist what to order and where it makes sense to stock product on. How do we tackle these these problems? And that's what I want to talk about today, because actually growing weed is fun, we're good at it, our product is great, and the market is growing. The demand since April has gone up 3 to 4 times. It's a huge opportunity, so we have to address these insufficiencies. And we know that a couple of companies are working on each of these problems individually. Our idea really is to bring it all together and build what we call an ecosystem through which we can make it easier to prescribe cannabis and get easier access to this quite useful medical product. Problem number 1, educating the patient. How do we do that? Well, we use the channels that patients used to educate themselves on. They don't read studies. Most of them don't even read the newspapers anymore. They go on social media. So a couple of months ago, we started a social media campaign with my co-founder, Adrian, who's a medical doctor. Now he's called Dr. Cannabis. So we want to bring the knowledge to the patient via a very convenient way, our social media campaign. The next is, once the patient is informed, how do we get the doctors aligned, doctors behind the prescription? Ideally channel the patients to a couple of doctors that prescribe cannabis. And that is by building a telemedicine platform, an online way to get a cannabis prescription. To be honest, not invented by us, the idea has been done for other pharmaceutical drugs already, and has already been done by other cannabis competitors of ours. The thing that we want to do and invent here is then connect these telemedicine platforms to our pharmacy platform. So that brings us to the third level, the pharmacist. We want to make sure that the doctor that on this online platform, when he prescribes a medicinal drug, a cannabis, he prescribes something that the pharmacy the patient will then go to, ideally also online, has available on stock. So we built a telemedicine platform that is interconnected on the ERP level with a pharmacy platform. So that's the third level of layer here, like get rid of the insufficiency. Make the patient find a doctor, have the doctor prescribe a cannabis drug that is available, and connect it directly to a pharmacy. Not to our pharmacy, but to our pharmacy platform. So we are building a pharmacy platform where you can connect yourself as a pharmacist if you want to be in the cannabis game, in the cannabis business, and if you're open to prescribing, to fulfilling cannabis prescriptions, you connect yourself to our Herbery platform, and you see the prescriptions coming in through our telemedicine platform. So we're almost full cycle now. The one thing that we then add is bring in the wholesaler, bring in the guys who have expertise in actually sending out and shipping out the cannabis, that's the wholesaler, that's us. So ideally, we then connect our Herbery platform with us or other wholesalers that then can deliver via this platform to the pharmacist. So again, go full circle with this ecosystem. No more insufficiencies, or let's say at least less insufficiencies. Just to make it available, make it smooth, make the whole process very convenient for patients and for potential patients who are still out there going to their home dealer rather than finding their doctor online, getting the prescription online, sent home to them, easily fulfilled by us or others as wholesalers. We want to build this ecosystem because we think that this is what's required to actually further the market and boost the market. And when I say we want to build, I'm not talking about something that we are planning. I'm talking about something that we have already done in the last couple of months and where we want to accelerate. So the social media channel is online. I encourage you all to go on Instagram and find Adrian Fischer or Dr. Cannabis and enjoy our cannabis content. It's in German, unfortunately, for all of those who are English speakers. But it's great content. It's educational content about cannabis, about cultivation, about prescription, about the drugs, about the legal questions all around it. And the user numbers are exploding already. It's a very interesting, a very cool channel. And as of last week, we've launched our HerbScare platform, so we can now direct the patient to our platform where we can now connect doctors with the patients on this telemedicine platform. And that's the way they can get the prescription. This platform connects patients with local doctors, local prescribers. If you're in Berlin, you're happy to use the platform, but you can also go to our doctor, our corporation doctor in Berlin, if you prefer to see a doctor in person. And already up and running is our pharmacy platform, Herbery, where you can then send the prescription to and make sure you get the cannabis you want directly shipped home to your home address. Right now we're working with one pharmacy, the second one has been onboarded, the third one is in line, and we want to bring more and more pharmacies to the platform so that you know you don't have to go to a random pharmacy, but you go to a pharmacy that knows what they're doing with regard to cannabis. And of course, the product, our DEMECAN product, for example, and I see a couple of competitors in the room, other products too, are available in the market. It's definitely better than the product's definitely better than what you find in the black market. So as I say, don't get high on your own supply. Also, don't get high on the wrong supply, but on the legal and medical cannabis supply. This is the ecosystem that we have built, and that's the ecosystem we now want to accelerate. And that's why we're raising to invest more into this ecosystem to help build the ecosystem for the market. And that is now because something happened in April. Germany legalized, and there's a market opportunity in front of us. And this market opportunity is probably a growth opportunity over the next 2-3 years, growing the existing market from about 400 million euros revenue potential up to over $1 billion. And I think I'm being very conservative here. Because when we put together these numbers, that was pre-legalization in April. That was probably around December, January this year. What we've seen since April 1st, April 2nd to be precise, numbers are skyrocketing. The pharmacy that we worked with, they used to fulfill something between 20 to 30 prescriptions a day. Now we have to put the pharmacy offline because we had requests of up to 200 prescriptions a day. We cannot even fulfill it anymore. It tells you it's high time to invest in this ecosystem, to build the infrastructure front end so we can all help serve the patients the best cannabis possible and in the market. We're raising. The raise is also going quite successful. We want to build the ecosystem. We have a commitment from a new investor coming in a 10 million round for the first 5 million ticket leading it. Another soft commitment for about $1 million coming from a German regional fund. Our existing shareholders are willing to commit again, and we're looking to fill up the round for another 2 to 3 million. So if any of you are interested to join this journey, to help us grow, literally, just come reach out to me. I'll be happy to have you on board. Thank you so much. Let me know if there's any questions, and I do not have cannabis with me right now, but come see me or our clinic in Germany. We'll make sure you get the best product available. Thank you.